What's the best economic move, to rent or buy your home? I'm Jack Otter, editor of BARRON'S.com. I'm here with John Goldstein, a wealth advisor with Ameriprise Financial. So the conventional wisdom, the American dream is that there is no higher financial goal than owning your own home. But you say there are reasons to call that conventional wisdom into question.
Yep, absolutely. There's some new studies that have come out. MIT Institute for Aging just put one out not too long ago that calls certain things into question as to whether or not that's actually going to be true. Some of it relies on population dynamics, some of it relies on taxes, who's going to buy the home in the future, what price can they buy it at, what is your carrying cost relative to renting. Those are all things that need to be considered for the people now that can realistically afford to buy a home. Historically, going back many generations, the goal was to get into a home as soon as possible because that increase in equity was something that was on average going to be recognized. That may not actually be the case going forward.
So can you give an example, say, with taxes?
Well, there are areas where taxes go up much higher, than what you would look at for commensurate wages in that area. So the ability for someone to afford that home in the future is diminished. Yeah, to buy it from you is diminished. So you might have something on the tax roll that's $400,000. You might have to sell it for $370 because there's nobody there that can buy it at that price range. So where's your equity at that point in time? And so your eventual point of distribution or sale becomes important. A lot of people also assume that once their mortgage is paid for, their carrying cost on that home is minimized, and that's not the case as well. So if you had a 30-year mortgage on new construction, 30 years from now, you've got 30 years of built-up repairs that are into that home that will need to be maintained over a period of time. And what is the cost structure for that?
So one of the fallacies that I see when people think about real estate values is that they fail to take inflation into account because homes tend to be held for so long. So they say, my parents bought this house for $50,000 and sold it for $600,000. Well, yeah, if you put $50,000 in the S&P back in 1979, it would have done quite well too. That said, I like the behavioral argument for owning a home, which is, I think there's a Professor Richard Green said, it's a piggy bank you live in. Yep. The thing is, if you didn't put that money into your mortgage, you probably would have bought new sneakers and a nicer car and gone out to dinner, and so at the end of 30 years you don't have that savings and you don't have a house.
Yep. And the reality is when you look at some of the estimates of whether they should rent or own, there's going to be a disparity that maybe the cost of renting is less than the cost of home ownership, and they force that savings into that position. But people in general, I don't think rationally go into it doing that comparison where they can make a choice to save or spend. So if there is a rent, maybe it's $1,500 a month, but the cost of the mortgage is $3,000, and they go, okay, what am I going to do with that $1,500? Well, maybe they save it, maybe they don't, but at least they can make that choice. Whereas the traditional wisdom is spend that $3,000, get into that house. And then to your question, what's the inflation? Is it more impactful on the real estate component or the equity component of what they might put in the market? That's a whole nother choice.
Now, another reason for owning a home is that at the end of that 30 years, or maybe it's 40 or 50 years, as an older couple, you hope, you at least own your shelter. And sure, you've got maintenance costs, you've got taxes, but you don't get thrown out in the street as long as you can afford those.
Yep. And the question is, can you afford those? And it depends on what they've done with the rest of their savings. If they can't afford it, they've got a big problem because you can't just rip off a door, trade it in for groceries, or ask someone to plow your driveway for a doorknob. So you've got problems that come into that. That carrying cost is something that needs to be done. But most people, when they build or buy their home, don't look at that as what's this going to look like 30 years from now? Typically, somewhere in between that 30-year time frame, they go, okay, I'm going to have to transition to something that's I'm able to take care of, or I'm able to live in. I'm getting rid of stairs. I'm doing something to this home, whether it's a remodel or just a relocation, and that doesn't come to fruition for them because of that reason.
And especially, I guess, if the house isn't worth what they think it is, they can't sell it for that.
Yep. And getting rid of a house is not inexpensive. Relocating is not inexpensive. Those are all intangible things that you sort of have to take into account at some point in time.
Good food for thought. Thanks very much, John.
Thank you. Yep.